My cousin insisted I lend him $50,000 because I have more money, so it won't hurt me. When I refused, he told the whole family I was a selfish liar who only pretended to care about family. The next holiday gathering fell silent as I pulled out his bank records and said, "Then explain why you just bought a brand new sports car." I always thought if there was one thing you could count on, it was family. That no matter how bad things got, we'd have each other's backs. Turns out, that's not always true. This story is about my cousin, Darren, 35, who tried to manipulate me, 38, into handing him $50,000 because, in his words, "It's not like you need it." When I refused, he spread lies to the family, making me out to be a selfish, greedy liar. But he underestimated me. Because when the next family gathering came, I brought proof. And when I was done, you could have heard a pin drop. Darren and I grew up together. We were close as kids, but as we got older, we took very different paths. I wasn't handed anything in life. I worked my ass off. I put myself through college, juggled multiple jobs, and lived in crappy apartments to save money. I built my career from the ground up, and after years of grinding, I make a comfortable six-figure salary. I'm not rich, but I can afford nice things without worrying about bills. Darren, on the other hand? Let's just say he never really figured things out. His parents, my aunt and uncle, spoiled him. Growing up, he had the best clothes, the newest game consoles, a car the second he turned 16. He was the kid who never had a summer job because why work when his parents would just give him money? He started college but flunked out within a year. Then he jumped from job to job, never lasting more than 6 months. Every time he lost one, it was never his fault. His boss was an idiot. His coworkers were lazy. The job was beneath him. For years, Darren claimed he was working on a business idea. He never said what it was, but he always talked about how one big break would change everything. That break never came. By the time we hit our 30s, I had a stable career, a house, and savings. Darren was still living with his parents, borrowing money constantly, and complaining that life isn't fair. Which brings us to the phone call. The call that set everything off. It started off normal. Darren called me up out of the blue, which was already suspicious. We aren't not close, but we aren't the kind of cousins who call just to chat. We exchanged some small talk, and then he hit me with it. "Hey man, I need a favor. A loan. $50,000. $50,000. Not $500. Not $5,000. But $50,000. Like it was nothing. I was so caught off guard, I actually laughed. I thought he was joking. "No, dude, I'm serious," he said. "I need it for a business investment. I'll pay you back in a year tops." That was already a red flag. Darren had never worked more than 6 months at a time. He had zero history of managing money. And now, he wanted me to hand him $50,000 based on nothing but his word. "Sorry, man, I don't loan money to family," I told him. "It never ends well." That's when his tone changed. "Dude, come on. You make good money. This is nothing for you. It's not like it would even hurt you." I was stunned. He actually thought he was entitled to my money just because I had more of it. I told him no again, firmer this time. I didn't owe him anything, and I wasn't going to risk my hard-earned savings on whatever nonsense scheme he had. That's when he got nasty. "Wow. So all that talk about family sticking together, huh? You act like you care, but when it really matters you don't give a. Selfish as hell, man." Then he hung up. I sat there for a few minutes, completely baffled. Had that really just happened? But that was just the beginning. The lies start spreading. Over the next week, I started getting texts and calls from other family members. "Hey, I heard you refused to help Darren. Darren said you promised to help him and then backed out. He said you act all generous but won't even help family when they need it." What the hell? Darren had gone on a full-blown smear campaign. According to his version of events, I had originally agreed to help him, then went back on my word. Because I didn't actually care about family. He made it sound like he was on the verge of homelessness, and I was some heartless bastard hoarding money. Even my aunt and uncle called me. "We're just disappointed." My aunt sighed. "Darren said you were going to help. He was counting on you. You know he's trying so hard to get back on his feet, and you're just letting him struggle." I almost lost it. Darren wasn't struggling. He was lazy. He'd been mooching off people for years. And now, because I wouldn't let him mooch off me, I was suddenly the bad guy. I realized there was no point arguing. Everyone had already taken his side. Fine. Let them think what they want. But then? I found something interesting. The truth comes out. A week later, I was venting to a mutual friend when he casually dropped a bombshell. At least Darren's new car is sick, though. That Corvette is a beast. I froze. What did you just say? He blinked. Darren's car? He got that new Corvette like last month? Last month. Darren had been struggling so badly that he needed $50,000 from me, yet he had just bought a brand new sports car? This didn't add up. So I did some digging. Turns out, Darren hadn't paid for the car in full. He financed it, and he was already behind on payments. It was all so obvious now. He didn't want the money for some business investment. He just wanted me to bail him out of his stupid financial decisions. He had lied to everyone. And now? I had proof. The plan. Thanksgiving was coming up, and I knew the whole family would be there. They all believed Darren's sob story. So I decided it was time to set the record straight. I printed everything. His car purchase. His overdue payments. The exact date he bought the car, 2 weeks before he asked me for money. And when the family sat down for dinner, and Darren made one little passive-aggressive comment about some people not caring about family, I pulled out the receipts. And I wasn't quiet about it. The tension in the room was thick enough to cut with a knife. Darren had been enjoying himself all night, playing the victim, soaking in the sympathy from the family. Every so often, he'd throw a little jab in my direction. Some people just don't understand what it's like to struggle. Must be nice to have everything handed to you. Not everyone's lucky enough to be selfish. I stayed quiet. Let him talk. Let them believe him. Because I was about to drop a bombshell. I cleared my throat and said, loud enough for the whole table to hear, Darren, since you think I don't care about family, maybe you can explain why you just bought a brand new Corvette 2 weeks before asking me for $50,000. The table went silent. Darren froze. His fork, halfway to his mouth, stopped midair. His face went pale. What? I pulled out a folder from my bag and slid it onto the table. His car purchase records. See, Darren told everyone he needed money for some business investment. But the thing is, these papers show you financed a Corvette 2 weeks before you asked me for money. And look at this, turns out you're already behind on payments. The silence in the room was deafening. Darren's face twisted in anger. Where the hell did you get that? He snapped. That doesn't matter. I shot back. What matters is that you lied to everyone. You weren't struggling. You just wanted me to pay for your car. Gasps. Mutters. The room had officially turned. My aunt and uncle, who had been so sure that I was the bad guy, looked at Darren in shock. Darren, is this true? My aunt whispered. Darren's eyes darted around, searching for a way out. Then, he doubled down. The lies get bigger. Oh, come on! I only asked for the loan because I needed a car to get to work. What's wrong with that? Darren shot back, his voice rising. I smirked. To get to work? Darren, you don't even have a job. Another silence. My uncle's eyes narrowed. Wait. You told us you had a new job lined up. Darren gulped. He hadn't expected them to start questioning him. I do. It just hasn't started yet. I laughed. Really? Because the dealership confirmed you told them you didn't have a job when you financed the car. Said you were between opportunities. Darren's face turned red. People were shaking their heads now, whispering. He had played them all. And then came the twist I wasn't expecting. A new player enters the game. Just when I thought Darren couldn't make things worse for himself, a voice cut through the murmurs. Wait, you asked him for money too? The whole table turned. It was my cousin Lisa. Darren looked like he had just seen a ghost. Lisa folded her arms. Because funny enough, Darren also came to me a month ago. He said he needed $10,000 to help with rent because he was about to get evicted. Gasps. My aunt's mouth dropped open. What? Lisa nodded, her voice dripping with anger. I didn't give him a cent. But now I see, there was no eviction, was there? Darren knew he was screwed. His eyes darted back and forth, looking for any way out. And then? He exploded. The breakdown. Oh, come on! You all just love watching me struggle, don't you? Darren screamed. You all sit there with your nice houses and good jobs while I have to scrape by. I just needed a little help. Nobody said anything. Darren stood up violently, his chair scraping against the floor. His fists were clenched. His face was bright red. He was breathing hard. I expected him to storm out. But instead, he pointed directly at me. You! He spat. You could have just helped me. You have so much, and you act like you're better than me. You don't even know what it's like to struggle. I stood up slowly, locking eyes with him. I know exactly what it's like to struggle, Darren. You just don't know what it's like to work for something. Darren's lip curled. He looked like he wanted to punch me. Then, just as fast as his anger had flared up, it vanished. He exhaled sharply. His shoulders slumped. His eyes darted toward the door. And before anyone else could say a word, he bolted. We all sat there in stunned silence, listening as the front door slammed shut. Nobody spoke. Nobody knew what to say. And just like that, Darren was gone. The room was a mess of emotions. Lisa was shaking her head. My uncle looked like he had just aged 10 years. My aunt had her hands over her mouth, eyes wide in shock. The rest of the family? Whispers. Mutters. Disbelief. I sat back down, grabbed my fork, and calmly took a bite of my mashed potatoes. Nobody touched their food. After what felt like an eternity, my aunt spoke, her voice shaking. I can't believe he lied to us. I didn't say anything. Because I wasn't done yet. Darren wasn't just going to walk away from this. Because what he didn't know was that I had found something else. And when the family heard this next part, there would be no coming back for him. The room stayed quiet for a long time after Darren stormed out. Everyone was just sitting there, staring at their plates, shifting uncomfortably. My aunt looked shell-shocked. My uncle had his head in his hands. Lisa was shaking her head, still fuming. But me? I wasn't done. Because Darren thought he could just run away from this. Thought if he left, everyone would eventually forget about it, that things would blow over. But he had no idea that the worst part of the story was still coming. So, I picked up my fork, took another bite of my food and said, "Yeah, we should probably talk about the other thing." Heads turned toward me. Lisa raised an eyebrow. "What other thing?" I let out a slow breath and leaned back in my chair. So, funny story. While I was looking into Darren's little financial situation, I found out he's been up to a bit more than just lying about the car. Everyone tensed. I turned toward my uncle and aunt. "Did you know Darren has been using your names to take out loans?" My aunt physically recoiled. "What?" I nodded. "I'm guessing no, then. See, Darren took out at least 3 personal loans in your name. He used your credit scores to get approved. And he's already missed payments on 2 of them." Shock. Pure shock. My uncle jumped to his feet. "That's not possible." "I wish it weren't," I said, shaking my head. "But I have the paperwork. Your names. His bank statements. He used your address and even your phone number." I reached into my folder and pulled out the printouts. Loan agreements. Bank records. Debt collection notices. I slid them across the table. My aunt's hands were shaking as she picked them up. The second she saw her own name listed, she gasped. "No. No, no, no." Her voice cracked. "How could he do this?" My uncle snatched the papers from her, his face turning red. He was shaking with rage. "That son of a—" He cut himself off, gripping the edge of the table so hard his knuckles turned white. Lisa let out a bitter laugh. "Wow. So first he tries to scam us, then when that fails, he commits identity fraud against his own parents? Amazing. Really hitting the full deadbeat loser bingo card." The moment everything changed. My aunt suddenly burst into tears. I wasn't expecting that. I expected anger, sure. Maybe shock. But not this level of heartbreak. She was sobbing, looking down at the papers like she was trying to will them out of existence. "We've given him everything," she choked out. "We gave him money, a place to stay, paid his bills. Why would he do this to us?" Nobody knew what to say. I looked at my uncle. His hands were shaking. His jaw was clenched so tight I thought his teeth might crack. And then, in a deadly calm voice, he said, "We're pressing charges." My aunt's head snapped up. "W what?" My uncle slammed his fist on the table. "Enough. Enough of this. He stole from us. Lied to us. He's been bleeding us dry for years. This ends now." The entire room was holding their breath. And then my phone buzzed. I glanced down. A text. From an unknown number. I opened it, and my stomach dropped. "Darren. Enjoy your little show? You have no idea what you just did." And then? Another one. "Darren. You think you won? You don't know." I frowned. My cousin wasn't smart, but he wasn't the type to fight back. At least, not in this way. I turned to Lisa, showed her the texts, and whispered, "Something's off." She frowned. "What do you mean?" Before I could answer, my uncle pulled out his own phone. And his face went pale. What is it? I asked. He looked up at me, his voice cold. Darren just tried to empty our savings account. I could feel my heart pounding. What? Lisa nearly shouted. My uncle turned the phone toward me. A withdrawal attempt for $15,000. Denied. He was still trying to steal from them. Even after getting caught. Even after running away. He must have used our online banking login. My uncle muttered. His hands were shaking as he typed rapidly on his phone. I looked over at my aunt. She was crying into her hands. I had never seen a family fall apart so fast. Lisa grabbed her phone and started calling the bank. My uncle? He was already looking up lawyers. And me? I stared at my phone, waiting for Darren's next move. Because I had a bad feeling. This wasn't over. The room felt suffocating. My uncle was furiously typing on his phone, trying to lock down their accounts. My aunt was sobbing, her head in her hands. Lisa was on the phone with the bank, her voice sharp and controlled. And me? I just watched. I watched everything fall apart because of one person's greed. My phone buzzed again. Another text from Darren. Darren. Hope you're happy. You just ruined my life. But don't worry, you'll regret this. Something about the message sent a chill down my spine. And then, there was a loud bang at the front door. Everyone froze. A second bang, harder this time. Then a voice. Open the door. It was Darren. Nobody moved. Lisa's face was pale. My uncle clenched his fists. My aunt? She just whimpered. The knocking got louder. Bang. 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 I know you're in there. Darren yelled. His voice was slurred. He was drunk. Lisa muttered. Oh, hell no. She grabbed her phone and dialed 911. My uncle stormed to the door, ripping it open. Darren stumbled inside, eyes wild. He reeked of alcohol. How could you do this to me? He screamed. You're my family. My uncle stepped forward, his face red with fury. You stole from us. Darren laughed. It was a broken, bitter sound. So what? It's not like you need it. You've got plenty. Lisa snapped. You used their names to take out loans, you jackass. Darren shrugged, swaying slightly. Yeah? And what are you gonna do about it? Sue me? Throw me in jail? Over a little money? His words made my blood boil. I stepped forward. It's not just a little money, Darren. It's years of lies. You took advantage of everyone who cared about you. Darren's lip curled. Oh, shut up. Mr. Six Figures. Mr. I worked hard. You were always a smug little asshole, thinking you were better than me. I took a slow breath. I don't think I'm better than you, Darren. I just think you're a liar. Darren's whole body twitched. His fists clenched. His breathing was ragged. For a second, I actually thought he might take a swing at me. Then my aunt, the woman who had defended him, cried for him, stood up. Darren, she whispered, voice trembling. Did you ever love us? Or did you just see us as walking piggy banks? Darren flinched. Mom, don't call me that. Her voice cracked like a whip. Tears streamed down her face. I let you live with us. I gave you everything. And you stole from us? After everything we did for you? Darren swallowed. He looked afraid. But instead of apologizing, he did what he always did. He lied. I didn't mean to, he stammered. I was desperate. I thought I could pay it back. Lisa scoffed. You weren't gonna pay back a thing. My uncle's voice was quiet, but firm. Darren, we're pressing charges. Darren snapped. Are you kidding me? He shouted, his face twisted in rage. Over a few loans? Over a little money? It's not just about money, my uncle roared. It's about trust. And you destroyed it. For the first time in his life, Darren had no way out. A knock at the door. Lisa looked at her phone. Cops are here. Darren froze. His breath came in ragged gasps. He looked at all of us, the people he had lied to, stolen from, manipulated. And he saw nothing but disgust. You're really doing this? His voice was almost childlike. Yes, my uncle said. We are. And just like that, the door opened. The cops walked in. Darren didn't even fight. He just let them take him. The last thing I saw before they led him outside? The look of complete and utter defeat on his face. The silence after Darren was gone was deafening. My aunt sat down, rubbing her temples. She looked like she had aged 10 years in one night. Lisa sat stiffly, arms crossed. Well, that was a train wreck. My uncle let out a slow, shuddering breath. I can't believe I let it go on this long. Nobody disagreed. Darren was facing fraud charges. They weren't sure how bad it would be, but it wasn't looking good. Lisa muttered. He'll probably just try to weasel out of it again. I shook my head. Not this time. Because this time? There was no one left to bail him out. I thought I'd feel satisfied after everything. I didn't. I just felt tired. Darren had been family. I grew up with him. Part of me wanted to believe he'd change. But I finally understood, he never would. Some people don't learn. Some people don't want to. And as much as it hurt, cutting him out was the only option left. Lisa sighed. Well, at least Christmas will be drama-free. I let out a short laugh. Yeah. Small blessings. And as I looked around at what was left of my family, I realized Darren didn't break us. He just revealed who he always was. And now, we could finally move on.